In 10 years, the United Kingdom will be poorer, more divided, and less British than at any point in its modern history. Now that's a heavy statement. It sounds like something you'd hear from a bloke down the pub after a few too many pints. But what if I told you that this isn't just an opinion? What if this is the predictable outcome based on 15 years of hard, cold data? Welcome back to Future Proof. Today we're not guessing, we're projecting. We're taking the UK's current trajectory on wages, inflation, and demographics, and extending the lines into the next decade. For anyone living in the UK or thinking of moving here, this isn't just a forecast, it's a critical briefing on the future you're walking into. So, stick around, because by the end of this video, you will understand the powerful, often invisible forces shaping Britain's destiny, and you'll be better equipped to navigate the turbulent decade ahead. Let's start with the money in your pocket, or rather, the lack of it. The single biggest story of the British economy over the past 15 years has been the death of the pay rise. From 1970 to 2007, real wages in the UK grew by an average of 33% per decade. But since the global financial crisis in 2008, that growth has completely stalled. This isn't just a bad year or two, it's a 15-year period of wage stagnation, the longest since the Napoleonic Wars. According to the Resolution Foundation, if wages had continued on their pre-crisis trend, the average British worker would be earning £11,000 more per year than they are today. That's not a rounding error, that's a life-changing amount of money. It's the difference between a comfortable life and a constant struggle. So, what went wrong? The main culprit is Britain's productivity puzzle. For reasons economists are still debating, the UK has become shockingly inefficient at producing goods and services. Our productivity gap with countries like France and Germany has doubled since 2008, costing us thousands in lost output per person. This, combined with a shift in bargaining power away from workers and towards employers, has created a perfect storm for stagnant pay. If this trend continues, the UK of 2035 will be a nation where an entire generation has never experienced a meaningful, sustained increase in their living standards. The Great British Pay Cut will become a permanent feature of the economy, locking in a lower quality of life. So, your pay isn't going up. But what about your bills? Well, you already know the answer to that one, don't you? The cost of living crisis has been brutal. A key driver has been energy prices. The push to go green and tax carbon-based fuels, followed by the massive shock of the Ukraine war, sent energy bills into the stratosphere. While wholesale prices have come down from their panic-induced peaks, the energy price cap for October 2025 is still set to rise, and UK electricity prices remain among the highest in Europe. But the real killer, the one sucking the life out of the British economy, is housing. The UK has housing costs that are a staggering 44% higher than in similar developed countries. In January 2025, there were 128,000 households living in temporary accommodation in England alone, the highest number on record. While the Bank of England and the Office for Budget Responsibility forecast that headline inflation will eventually settle back towards the 2% target, the damage has been done. Prices for essentials like food and rent have jumped to a new, permanently higher plateau, while wages have been left behind. The UK of the next decade will be a place where the basic pillars of a middle-class life, heating your home and having a secure roof over your head, are considered luxuries. The gap between wages and essential costs will continue to widen, making the UK a far less comfortable place to live than it was for previous generations. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. The one that's driving protests on the streets and dominating the political debate, immigration and the changing face of Britain. This is not just a British phenomenon, it's happening across Europe. But the numbers in the UK are particularly stark. After Brexit, net migration from the EU actually became negative. The surge has been driven by non-EU immigration, hitting a record high of 906,000 in the year, to June 2023 before falling back, but remaining at historically high levels. This is happening at the same time as a collapse in the native birth rate. This combination is leading to a demographic transformation that is, as one former immigration official put it, changing some parts of the country beyond recognition. In 2021, 16% of the UK population was born abroad. In London, that figure is over 40%. Based on these trends, multiple academic projections, including one from a professor of demography at Oxford University, have forecast that the white British population will become a minority in the UK by the mid-2060s. Now let's be clear, this isn't a conspiracy theory, it's a demographic forecast based on current trends in migration and birth rates. But the social and political consequences are enormous. A society undergoing such rapid change will inevitably face challenges to its social cohesion. In fact, a 2018 Demos poll found that about 3/4 of the British public already believe that immigration had increased divisions. The UK of the next decade will be a nation grappling with a profound identity crisis. The political landscape will be increasingly shaped by the interests of various minority groups as all parties compete for their votes. In a time of national crisis like a war or another pandemic, this lack of a unified national identity could pose a serious threat to the country's ability to act cohesively. This rapid demographic shift is one of the most sensitive topics in Britain today. So, we want to hear from you now. What do you think is the single most important thing the UK should do to improve the integration of new migrant communities? Post it in the comments section. The best suggestions will be pinned. Is it language requirements, community-led programs, or something else entirely? Let us know your constructive ideas in the comments. Now that's the trajectory we're on. A bit grim, isn't it? But the future isn't set in stone. The purpose of this channel is to future-proof you, and that means looking at the solutions. This decline is not inevitable, it's the result of choices, and we can make different ones. First, to fix the pay packet, we have to solve the productivity puzzle. This means a national mission to reverse decades of underinvestment. It means serious government and private sector investment in the skills, technology, and infrastructure that actually make a country richer. It's about training our own people for the high-skilled jobs of the future, not just relying on cheap labor from overseas. Second, we need to stop talking about the housing crisis and actually start building. Less talk, more bricks. We need a national house-building program on a scale not seen since the post-war era, with a massive focus on social and affordable homes to clear the waiting lists and ease the pressure on the rental market. And finally, we need a new deal on migration. Not a closed door, but a smart door. This means moving away from a chaotic, numbers-driven system to a selective, skills-based policy that is planned in lockstep with our infrastructure capacity. It means having an honest conversation about the pace and scale of change. Crucially, it means properly funding integration. Integration isn't just about migrants fitting in, it's a two-way process of adaptation for both new arrivals and their host communities. This requires active, well-funded, community-led programs that build connections, foster trust, and break down the parallel societies that fuel division. So, let's put it all together. A future of stagnant wages, a crippling cost of living, and a society undergoing a rapid, historic demographic transformation. What does this mean for the quality of life in 2035? For the average person, life will be significantly harder than it was for their parents' generation. The quality of life enjoyed by Gen X, and even older millennials, affordable housing, rising wages, a stable national identity, will seem like a distant memory. The UK is on a trajectory to become a low-growth, high-inequality, and socially fractured nation. But as we've said, this future is not inevitable. It is the result of the current trajectory. The purpose of this channel is to future-proof you, and that means understanding these trends so we can demand a different path. A path that focuses on boosting productivity, building the houses we desperately need, and fostering a sensible, sustainable immigration policy that prioritizes social cohesion. The UK is at a crossroads. The next 10 years will determine whether it continues down this path of managed decline, or whether it finds the courage to make the difficult choices needed to build a truly prosperous and united future. If you found this analysis valuable, please hit like, subscribe for more deep dives, and share it with someone who needs to see it. If you want to power the research behind these videos, join our Patreon, link in description. Members vote on topics, get early access, research notes, and a name credit in the videos. Your support keeps this channel independent. Thanks for watching.